Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. This is Jack, and I wanted to talk about in this video how I truly believe that Activision is actually in charge of developing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. They may have been in charge of developing Modern Warfare, but this is about Black Ops Cold War. It's Black Ops Cold War time, so we're going to talk about that. And basically, Treyarch is just doing the work, but they're taking orders from guys that are basically Activision guys. Now, as you guys know, thanks to Michael Condrey, he basically let the cat out of the bag by basically saying, or exposing Activision by saying that the developers have absolutely no say or implementation in the skill-based matchmaking and all that kind of stuff. That's all Activision. So in other words, as well as the microtransactions, which basically says that Activision has their own team, their own little group of people that basically developed this skill-based matchmaking algorithm with the patent, which is strong as fuck, as we all know, and put it into the game. So with that, I ask you, what is to stop Activision from going a step further and basically telling those guys, or hiring another group of guys, just a handful of guys, and saying, okay, you're in charge of programming, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that, map development, design, and all that kind of stuff. You that are a part of the Treyarch team are no longer in charge. You're basically the right-hand man, and you take orders from this guy. And this guy is going to basically approve everything that happens in development. So, in other words, if they want the spawns to be shitty, guess what? They have basically these guys basically approve that. If they want the maps to be a certain size or to have a certain amount of safe spaces or to play a certain way, guess what? Those guys are in charge of that, not Treyarch. Or let's say they want the streaks to be weak. Guess what? You guys see where I'm going with this? And by the way, going back very briefly to the skill-based matchmaking patent, it also, as you guys know in recent times, if you've been keeping up, it also keeps track of how and where you move and the stats and way beyond. And before we go into the current proof and signs of this, okay, I'm not just talking out of my ass here. I'm going to give you guys some common sense proof. Before I get into that, I want to take you back in previous years of where signs of this took place. Okay, let's say Call of Duty Ghosts, right? What's the game that was out before Call of Duty Ghosts? It was Black Ops 2. Okay, now Black Ops 2 had some of the best streaks ever. Okay, they implemented the score streak system. The maps were medium-sized maps, not too big, not too small. There were a couple really small ones, but compared to most Call of Duty maps, they were a little bit smaller, and they basically, you could play any way you want, but, you know, granted, because the spawns actually made sense, and because the streaks were good, and there were multiple ways to get streaks, and because good players are able to do all three. They're actually able to manipulate spawns and take advantage of the spawns and predict spawns very, very well, and take advantage of that, and get kills faster, upping their score per minute, getting streaks faster, and yada, yada, yada. Guess what? When Call of Duty Ghosts came out, they actually went against that because good players were getting shit on by streaks quite a lot. They were getting shit on a little bit too fast. So guess what they did? They made a shitty spawn system in Call of Duty Ghosts. They made the maps bigger. Now, granted, the maps in Call of Duty Ghosts were absolutely epic when you compare them to Modern Warfare 2019. I'll tell you that much. And, of course, the streaks were nerfed to hell. And not just that, the best streak in the game, which so happened to be the dog Riley, you may argue that it might have been another streak, but for the most part, the dog was probably the most annoying streak, which was also a very good streak because it was also annoying and because it was also good and very random as well. But it only cost 5 kills to get. Okay, you had to go basically on a bloodthirsty to be able to get that streak. And unless you had hardline, which you can get it in 4 kills. And on top of that, guess what? Camos, you know, they want everybody to have a chance to get camos, right? Grind for camos, you know, not just for tryhards, but for everybody equally. In Black Ops 2, basically, I mean, I was a noob. I had a .8 KD in the beginning of Black Ops 2 until I started to learn and play Call of Duty correctly. And guess what? I was able to get my camos, my gold and my diamond camos, before I even became good at Call of Duty. Because getting a Bloodthirsty was one of the hardest things to get, and I was still able to get it as a noob. So they have all this data, guys. All this data that we cannot even fathom And it keeps on getting more sophisticated as time goes on. They are recording everything about good players. It's not just YouTube and footage videos. It goes way beyond that and into the patent. So let me fast forward you to today. Let's fast forward to today. And in some ways, as you can see, it actually has a lot to do with yesterday. They're just rinsing and repeating, but making it worse from what they did years ago. So let me give you the first sign. Patch notes not released right away. Why are patch notes not released right away? The game was updated, what, a day and a half ago or something like that, when they nerfed Submachine Gun Alpha or whatnot, and among the other things that were written in the patch notes today, or should I say yesterday, depending on when you watch this video and when it goes up. Why are patch notes released so much later than when the patch actually goes live and has been downloaded for a while? Guess what? It's because it has to get approval from Activision, because everything that Treyarch does has to get approved from Activision, whether it's nerfing weapons, fixing the spawn system, whatever it is. Everything they do has to get approval from Activision at this point. I mean, if skill-based matchmaking is a thing, doesn't it make sense for that to be a thing as well? And of course, let me take you further into today in terms of proof. The perk. What perk am I talking about? Well, the perk that I'm talking about is the forward intel perk, which basically, it doesn't say this in the description of the perk unless they recently changed it with the patch. And you're supposed to get increased minimap coverage, right? Well, a 60% minimap increase coverage, which is great. But it also tells you where the enemy is going to spawn, which is something that good players already do or have a good idea of doing. And they nerfed this in two ways. Number one, they made this into a perk. And number two, guess what? The spawns are still shitty. Okay, you're still gonna eventually, every now and then, spawn in the same spot 3 or 4 times in a row. Or somebody's gonna see you already. Now, granted, in one of the patch notes, they said that they've addressed that one of those issues. And at the same time, again, you guys have to understand, Activision has final approval on everything. So when you think about it, and if there's a team, which we know thanks to Michael Condrey, if there's a team that basically, if there's a specific Activision team that implements skill-based matchmaking into the game, what is to stop Activision from going a step further and saying, okay, you, sir, are going to be in charge, we're going to hire you, and you're going to be in charge of this, and this is the way we want it to be, and you're in charge. They can't say anything unless you get final approval. And if it's not how we want it, then you're going to be fired. And guess what? We'll even pay you better than what we pay the developers just because you're doing good by us. It's all about the money, folks. And they want every single person, no matter what the cost, they want every single person in the game, whether it's the devoted Call of Duty fans that manage to get good at the game with time and effort and practice and purchasing the game. They want everybody to have an equal experience, even if that means the good player has to pay for it. And speaking of paying for it, we know, thanks to the skill-based matchmaking patent, we also know that if you pay for microtransactions or COD points or whatever the hell it is, right? If you go that extra mile, you are more likely to get into easier lobbies. At least this was the case in Modern Warfare. And in due time, this may be the case in this game as well. And some of these guys just happen to be content creators that make thousands of dollars per video, so they can afford to spend $100 per week or even more, or even per day if they wanted to basically get easier lobbies and to make themselves look legit, to take advantage of skill-based matchmaking patent. If people are reverse boosting out there, what makes you think that they're not going to do this, especially if they're making thousands of dollars? I mean, if I were to tell you, hey, I'll give you $100, spend $100 and I'll give you 1,000 in return or 2,000 in return. Easy fucking money, bro. But anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. I mean, I could go on and on, but that's it. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy the video? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this is Jack, signing off.